Well. Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and today I am here with a sister that's going to help us learn about something that I think all of our families and kids need to know about. Her name is Assata. I don't have your last name, Assata. What's your last name, Assata?
Assata Moore. Assata
Assata
Moore.
Moore. Okay,
Yes.
Assata Moore. And she works with urban intellectuals, and you all have the Black Math Genius program, and you
That's
work
correct.
alongside Freddie Taylor. That's all accurate, right? I said that right?
Correct. That's right on point.
Okay. Okay, perfect. And so first off, I want to welcome Assata and say, how you doing today, sister?
I am fantastic and glad to be here. It is truly an honor.
Oh, the honor's all mine. The honor's all mine. And everybody, as you come in, please hit that thumbs up button. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. This is really important information we're going to discuss today. And it's going to have to do with us educating our kids and getting our kids to the head of the curve as it pertains to all the skills that are critical for us to be successful. So, Assata, let's start from the beginning. You and Freddie, you work with Freddie Taylor with urban intellectuals, and you all have done a great job providing lots of educational tools and resources to the community. Can you
Yes.
tell us a little bit about that mission and how that's been going?
The mission is really us doing the work to save ourselves. No one is going to come in and rescue us. And what's most important, when I think about the great revolutions that we've had as a people, none has had the financial stability that's required to truly have a revolution. And no one is going to fund our freedom. No one is going to fund a revolution for us, right? We can't get a loan for freedom. And so the
Yes.
first thing to get people to understand the mission is that we must first deal with the mindset. We must know where we come from, where we currently are, and where we must go in order to be successful. And that's part of the work that Urban Intellectuals does with the educational piece. My specific focus is on mathematics and how we can use mathematics to get out of this mess that we are in and have been in as a people.
Wow. Well, that was really powerful. They got my engine going when you mentioned that the revolution, basically that the revolution has to be financed, and somebody has to be able to get this done, and it has to come from us. It can't, we can't wait for other
Yes.
people to do this for us. And so when you talk about that critical field of education, I'll tell you what I believe, and you can tell me what you think about this. In the Black Business School, we have what we call the Black Core of Three. In the Black Core of Three means we believe Black people should educate our own children, create our own jobs, and support Black-owned businesses. What do you think about that? And what are some things you would add to that based on your experience and expertise?
Well, it's not. We don't have a fancy name for it, but that has been the work really that I've been doing for the past 30 years. And so I started at an African-centered charter school, Sankofa Shule. The very mission of that school was that we should educate our own children. That there is no point in history that you can give a lesson without including Black people, right?
Mm.
And then with that, we have to have the financial base as well. So those three, that has been the core of the work of what it is that we've been doing. No one is sitting around thinking about or dreaming about how to create jobs and opportunities for Black people.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to walk into a room, a Hispanic organization, and on their agenda, how we're going to build wealth for the Black community. That does not happen.
Mm-hmm.
So if no one is doing that, then who does it belong to? That is
Mm.
on us.
Well, Donald Trump said he's going to fight for our Black jobs. That ain't enough, and maybe the Democrats can offer us even more Black jobs. Those Black jobs ain't gonna liberate us. What are you talking about? You're talking
Hey,
crazy about it.
create an account and jump in some Asian communities or Jewish communities. No one else has the conversations that we have when it comes to politics. No one
Mm.
else is asking what are they going to do for us, because they know that with their money, their power, that they command respect without asking for it.
Mm.
And we don't do that. We're the only one that battle between which massa is going to be better for us.
Mm. Mm. Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? Which master is going to be better for us? And that's how I feel, Sada. When I see people, when I see I'll see people where one member of the family is a Democrat and the other one wants to be a Republican, and then they'll stop speaking to each other because my massa is better than your massa. My
Right.
party's better than your party. That drives me crazy. I'm not
Right.
making fun of anybody, but that are you really serious right now?
Oh, they're serious.
And
They're
it's crazy
serious.
to me.
It's
I don't know
nonsense.
what do you think about that? Just with all the politics, I'm not saying it's not important, But how do you know the difference between just a sort of healthy political engagement versus something that really just becomes a wasteful, repetitive distraction, right? Because we do this every 4 years. What are your thoughts on some of that?
Well, the first thing I ask is, what are the policies that you like about your candidate?
Mm,
Most can't give it,
mm. Oh, but
right?
they can tell you how bad the other party is, though.
Oh, exactly, right. And oftentimes that's not even backed by facts. And then I ask,
Mm,
what have you read to support that? That does not include a social media resource,
mm,
right? And
mm,
that stops the conversation. But this goes back to the first tenet of the three, the common the core, the three that you have, right? It's the education piece.
mhm, mhm.
With everything, it is about education,
Yes.
and that's including politics.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, Asada, I believe that a big part of the root of our problem does start with education because education doesn't just determine what facts and skills you're exposed to.
Mhm.
It also determines your value system. Like what facts,
Yes.
what skills are important to you, and when you acquire those skills and those facts, how do you apply those skills and those facts,
Mhm.
right? Because if I want everybody to hear me on this. If you imagine a kid that's raised in a loving, nurturing, very pro-black environment, the most important things you're giving them aren't just the facts, information, and
Right.
skills. You're giving them the value system to go with those facts, information, and skills, right? So
Yes.
when you're accumulating this intellectual and educational power, you say, I'm going to apply my power doing this or doing that. It's like free
Yes.
time, right? If I have an hour of free time, I can apply it to watching TV. I can apply it to killing somebody. I can apply
Right.
it to, to taking care of my kids.
Right.
There's lots of things I can do with that power that I have. And I think that what the educational system does, as far as one of many disservices, is it makes our kids say, okay, once I spend my whole life working hard and learn all these skills, I'm gonna go leave my community and go give it to somebody else. That's
And
what I
that's that value and morals piece that you're speaking of, right? And we don't even understand the mission, and we do not understand that we don't have the right to do what we want. We have
mm,
a responsibility, and we think that we have rights because, again, the culture, we speak about rights in this country. We have a responsibility to ourselves,
mm,
our family, and our people to do better. And when we
mm,
think about, just think about the average person on social media that wants to be wealthy. They're going to quote Grant Cardone. They're going to quote all of these white men, right? You haven't heard of Eddie Brown. You
mm,
haven't heard of Reginald Lewis. You
mm,
haven't heard of your own people that have developed wealth and what their value system is or was, right?
mm,
And then just the principles. Why do you want to be a millionaire? What is the purpose of accumulating whatever amount of money or even a billionaire? Are you familiar with the best of what it means to be African? The principles of truth, justice, righteousness, order, balance, harmony, and reciprocity
mm,
from out of Kemet, right? So that value system is, and again, it goes back to what you were speaking about, the education. Because
mm,
what the African proverb says is that money in the hands of a fool is dangerous.
mm. That's right. That's
And
right.
so if you're learning to build wealth with that value, then you understand that you have responsibilities to cause no harm, as the Kemetic people say, to cause no harm to your people, to bring more good to the world than what was here when you got here.
Mm, I love that. I absolutely love that. And I see, we got a pleasant surprise. I didn't know
Yes,
Freddie was
indeed.
going to join you. I looked down and I said, oh, there's Freddie in the green room. Oh, let me bring Freddie in here. How you doing, Freddie?
I'm
What's
doing
up,
good,
brother?
brother. Hey, how you doing? Hey, Sister Sada, how you doing as well?
I'm
Sorry,
great.
I
Fantastic.
was tardy. I was planning on coming. I was closing out a separate meeting, so I
Oh,
just wanted to
that's
pop
okay.
in and show my love and support.
Oh,
We would
no
appreciate
problem,
it.
man.
Yeah.
You're the boss. Freddie's the boss. So boss is the meeting starts when the boss arrives. So how you been, Freddie? So
I've
Freddie,
been
we
great.
yeah, we were talking about education, and I know with Urban Intellectuals, you've done a great job of reaching millions of people with very pro-black, very positive messages, and it's which makes me really happy that we're partnering with you. It was a very natural partnership, and you and I talked, and it turns out you live a couple of blocks from me, or a few blocks from my house. I think I don't know exactly where it's at, but I know it's close. And so and I'm curious to get your thoughts on this. Assata and I were speaking about the educational system and some of the disservices that can occur just by targeting our kids' energy in the wrong direction. Like even if you're properly educated and you have all this skill, if your value system isn't right, if you don't believe that skill should be applied to do things for other Black African people or people in this country that are from your same situation, then it becomes a waste. I'd like to get your thoughts on that. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean that's the issue, right? Like we have a lot of education, but we don't have a lot of self-love and a centering of Black and African people in ourselves, in our families, in our education, in our outreach, our professions. We are taught to solve everybody else's problems and not ours. So that's what we need. I know the politics, everybody's going crazy about voting and all of that, but no politician has ever saved us. It's gonna have to be us coming together, putting our collective geniuses together and working together to solve our own issues. We're definitely capable. We got the money, we got the intelligence, we just don't got the love of the community. And I think that's the big major problem.
And Freddie and I didn't meet to have that. You pretty much mirrored it, what I just said. We didn't even meet to discuss this.
Well, great
Boy, she one of us, man. She one of us.
Right.
Oh yeah. I can tell that instantly. And any friend of Freddie's is a friend of mine. So I already had the respect before we started talking. And I want everybody to know that the Black Business School, we are partnering with the Urban Intellectuals and the Math Genius program. I'm going to let Assata Moore and Freddie Taylor discuss that. But later on today, I believe that today is when you're scheduled to do the train. Okay, yeah. So they're doing that tonight. It's going to be free. Now, if you'd like to receive that link, I'm going to send that link out to everybody. Get on the text list. You'll get on the text list for Money in the Morning, our financial consciousness training that we do every single day. So that's a free class you can get for you and your family. So just text the word morning to the number 87948. Somebody put that in the chat. Text morning, MORNING, to the number 87948, and I will send that link out immediately after this interview is done. So everybody in here will be invited because I can tell you don't want to miss this. So tell me about just the Black Math Genius and just what the history, where it comes from, what the goal is for our children. I'll start with you, Assata.
Yeah, Black Math Genius. It started actually almost 30 years ago now in Lansing, Michigan. Of course, the home of Malcolm X, right? And so I was a college student at the time, and I started volunteering at an African-centered charter school called Sankofa Shule. And I was doing with those students elementary school students, what I was doing in my engineering classes and my math classes at Michigan State University. Wow. And what I saw in students were genius. There's a company now called Blackboard that a lot of college students use to take their courses. Well, when they first came out, they were Apex Learning. And we were a pilot to take AP courses. Now, remember, I said these are elementary school students taking AP Physics and AP English Lit. And by the time my students were done with me, they were passing the entrance exam as 6th, 7th, and 8th graders because it was non-graded and departmentalized. They were passing the admissions exam to Lansing Community College. And so we started hooking up with community colleges, going out to do things like Physics Day at Cedar Point. We would visit at Washington, D.C., check out the monuments. And going back to this education piece, knowing who you are, whenever we would visit somewhere, our students knew to ask, where were Black people? If we're in the Smithsonian and they're talking about a point in time, one of the students will raise their hand, and what were Black people during that time, right? It was the largest field trip that we did. And we went as far as California. We went to Chicago to study the mathematics of the skyscrapers and the architecture. But our biggest trip was we took students to Egypt to study the mathematics of the pyramid. Again, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. This was like in 1998, 99, somewhere around that time. And so what I saw genius in children without even looking, just by exposing them to high expectations. And I would come in, what do y'all mean y'all can't figure out the antiderivative or the derivative of such and such as first graders? Miss Moore, Mama Assata, what is that, right? It's just calculus is you're basically subtracting twice and then dividing. It is the change in something over a change in time, right? Go outside and let me see you run. Now run faster. That's your acceleration. Acceleration is the derivative of speed, right? With respect to time, right? And just getting them engaged that way. And parents would say, hey, over the winter break, Kai came home and she said we needed to find the perimeter of the windows so that we can know how many Christmas lights we need, right? And so I made mathematics relevant and fun to them. And I had extremely high expectations of what they were capable of. And they rose to those expectations. And so I know that mathematics is the key when we think about the top careers of the future. Right now, we're talking about quantum computing, quantum physics, quantum mathematics, right? I was looking at my notes with financial derivatives and the mathematics that's involved in that. That goes back to our babies understanding exponents, right? And so that is where the program came from. And I've just been continuing on this path with it all the way up until when I was a principal at the University of Chicago's charter school in Chicago, Illinois. And at that time, what I did, again, high expectations, I made it a requirement as principal. I'm one of those Black people that's not afraid of power. Oh, you gave me some power? Oh, okay. I'm hiring everybody. I'm going to HBCUs. I am hiring Black men before they even step foot out of college. You know, I'm going to have my staff full of Black men, but I'm going to change the curriculum. So now we're going to have Black thought in senior thesis class. What is Black thought in senior thesis? You're going to learn about Black stuff the whole 180 days of the school year. Well, what about if it's a South African that's white? No. And these are teachers asking me this because they were fighting it, right? No, they have to be Black, right? That was the thing. And you have to write a 30-page paper off of it, not using the internet as a resource. You have to actually go to the library. But the other thing that I did was I made AP Computer Science a requirement, not an elective that was reserved for the smart kids. It was a requirement that every student had to take. Well, Ms. Moore, what about students with IEPs? They're going to take it too, right? So Black Math Genius is about exposing students to mathematics from an African-centered paradigm at an advanced level and making sure that it is relevant and meaningful to students' lives.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna tell you this. And by the way, I'm speaking with Assata Moore and Freddie Taylor from Urban Intellectuals, and they are partnering with the Black Business School on a Black Math Genius plus Black Millionaires of Tomorrow program. As you guys know, we have our Black Business School for children. It's called Black Millionaires of Tomorrow, where your kids get the fundamentals on real estate investing, stock market investing, entrepreneurship, etc. And so it was a natural partnership to also say, in addition to making our kids financial geniuses, let's make them math geniuses. So this event's going to happen tonight at 7:30 p.m. Central, which is 8:30 Eastern. And everybody in here, if you want an invitation to join and bring your family, just text the word morning, MORNING, to 87948. I'm going to send this link right after we're done with this meeting. So text morning to 87948. So Freddie, I want to ask you this question then. So as Assata was talking about, and I loved what I was hearing, by the way, I loved hearing this idea of not our kids, there's so much talk about equality. We want to be equal. And I'm like, equal to what? I don't want to be equal to nothing. I want to win. Right. How about we become excellent? Right. And go level up from that. And so what you're talking about really, Assata, was excellence, which I love. Because you're talking about these advanced math concepts, and I remember when I was working on my PhD stuff, that was my big deficiency. Actually, I didn't have mentors to tell me how much math is required to get a PhD in finance, so I struggled a lot. When I first started my doctoral program at Indiana University, where I met my wife, I was getting my butt kicked because I wasn't mathematically prepared. So at that time, I then did something insane. I went back to the University of Kentucky. I spent 3 straight years doing nothing but studying math and statistics. That's all I did, because that was my weakness. And I'd read Michael Jordan's book where he said, now he may not be an excellent person, but he's an excellent basketball player. And so I like learning from excellent people. And so I read his book, and he said, if you have a weakness, you work on your weakness until it becomes your greatest strength. So that's what I did. So I did study math 3 years straight. And what I found was, and Freddie, I'd love to get your thoughts on this, is I found that being good at math helped me in so many ways that I didn't anticipate. Just the line of thinking, the deep thinking required logical thinking. It applied to a lot of other things, whether you're playing chess or even when I became really good at poker, the math skill was really powerful. And what I find is that we don't understand how much our kids are losing when they're not mathematically prepared. When they get out and think about it, you a businessman, Freddie, and you've made probably more money than you ain't got to tell me how much money you made, but I know you ain't broke. So can you imagine doing what you do and not having basic math skill, not being able to calculate percentages and all? But there's millions of our people that get stuck in that spot because we're letting them be educated by the wrong people. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, and like it's ironic because like my children were growing up. Right now they're 21 and 24 now, but when they were little, that was my wife and I our mantra. Like little black boys, we had two boys, two black males, right? Little black boys that are strong and proficient in mathematics can do anything. Like the world is literally their oyster, and I leaned in heavy on making sure that they were mathematically sound, not only sound but excellent, right? And I enjoyed mathematics. I think it's very fun, but and then oh man, Sister Assata beats this topic up, by the way. So sister, I ain't gonna do it justice. But it's the confidence piece, right? Because once you got to get called to the board and you don't know something, and you're not mathematically, you can't answer the question. You get shy, you start to withdraw, you start to remove yourself from the situation. And obviously math continues to compound and build. So if you're falling behind, as Sister Assata is always talking about, then that means these professions, these high-paying professions, start to fall off the map of opportunities for you. Because if you're not strong in mathematics, I don't care. You're not going to be an engineer, right? Like it's just not going to happen because it's all based on the mathematics. So I'm a big proponent of pushing mathematics into our schools, into our young people's minds. I applaud you, good brother, for noticing your weakness and having the intestinal fortitude to go back and study hard and make that a strength of yours. Kudos to you. You're a brilliant brother who makes far more money than all of us, but that's another confidence that comes along with being mathematically proficient. So when I've been knowing Sister, I think we met in like 04 or whatever.
No, it was 2004.
2004. I've just
in real estate on the wealth side of thing, right? This math and finance goes together. Yes.
But we quickly clicked, for our pro-black stance on everything. But I have never in my life met anybody like her when it comes to mathematics and talking about it and getting you to understand complex problems in a simplistic manner that it is awe-inspiring to watch her work. And her tenacity, I think you get a bit of that, comes through when she's challenging the students to be excellent. And it's just beautiful. And then with the merger with our companies, because we focus on history, and she has a historical component inside of the Black Math Genius program, it was just an easy way for us to work together, because I believe history is mission critical to us to getting that self-love piece. Because we need to know who we've been on this planet so that we can continue to move forward in excellence. So it's just a great merger. But I have never met anybody more passionate about mathematics than Dr.
Wow.
Ever.
Well, you know what, Miss Assata, you said doctor. Did you is somebody doctor? Did I mispronounce?
No, Assata is fine. He's given honor to an honor that Assata is fine.
Oh, okay. So Miss Assata, Queen Assata. Well, let me say this. I'm gonna ask you about this, Assata. One thing I also believe too is that when you're Black, you have a lot of problems to solve sometimes. Like because of the complexities of our existence here in America, problem solving is an essential skill for any person, really anybody. But I think especially for us, you run into these situations and things where you gotta. You have to be able to think your way through stuff. You got to know, okay, should I get in the car with my cousin or not? Because he may have drugs in the car. Should I, should I marry this person or that person? How am I going to get enough? My father trying to figure out how am I going to get enough money to feed the kids today? Problem solving seems to be a critical part of our existence. And one thing I've noticed, Assata, is that in mathematics, that ability to solve a problem can really also benefit in so many ways. Because one thing I learned about solving a math problem is that when you get a problem, you have to relax and solve the problem. You have to think your way through it, right? Because a lot of us, what do we do when we see a word problem in math? We panic. People panic and freak out. And that reminds me of how we are trained. Some of us are trained to think this way as Black people. We have all these problems, and we either panic or we just get sad about it. So we'll sit together and have a big, wine and cheese fest. Well, I'll whine all day about it's so hard to be Black. Look at what they're doing to us. They done did it again, y'all. And everybody enjoys that part of the problem, but nobody wants to stick around when somebody says, hey, you know what? I have a solution. I have a solution. So what do you think about that? Just that skill of problem solving in terms of how it can impact a child's life forever.
So one of the things that I would do in the engineering part of the class is what was called a decision matrix.
Mm.
And before teaching them the decision matrix, what I did was I would blindfold the students. They had one person behind them giving them instructions on what they needed to do, but everyone in the classroom was talking. There was noise going on. There was a lot of confusion that they know. And what I was training them to do was to be able to think and listen through noise before making a decision.
Mm.
And so that was part of the engineering class that I started at the high school. Blindfold them, give the person behind an image. You have to describe to them how to draw that image. But the person that is blindfolded, they've lost sight. They don't have their sight. All they need to focus on is the voice that they're hearing that's leading them in the right direction. And they have to eliminate all of the noise. And then we went into a decision matrix. And with the decision matrix, I actually used baby diapers. And so we brought in baby diapers. They filled the different baby diapers up with, and they had to make a decision based on what's most important. Cost versus the material, what type of polymer is on the inside, right? And then I showed we can do that with everything. Everything we can have a decision makers. But before you make decisions, you need to be able to tune in, block out all of the noise, and focus only on the problem at hand.
Wow.
So yes, that is an important piece. And we need to be able to do that with our mental being in place. So I would start classes with what I call an energizer, where you just simply focus on a problem. And here's how I graded it. I graded it by me observing how you were struggling with the problem. I graded it based on how much you used your eraser, the more decisions, the changes you made, because when you do something wrong, that ignites your brain more than just, saying, I can't get it, right? So all of that mental and emotional piece, but that's Black learning. I was telling you when I watched the Simone Biles piece, part of what she said was when she wasn't able to make it through that Tokyo game, when she went home, she said, it felt like death. My family wasn't there. No one was in the audience. As Black people, we need to understand that we operate differently. And that goes into the history piece. We need to know our history. And not only our history, but how we operate within the world, with each other, and with others, period, outside of us. So all of that plays a part in it. Freshmen that came into my high school, I started Freshman Scholars Institute. They came in during the summer. They had to all get each other's phone number. It was almost kind of a Freddie pledge, so he know what this was like. And it was designed by a bunch of those young folks that I went to Central State University and others got, right? But the students had on the back of their shirt, there's no I, me, my, or mine. There's only we, us, and our, whatever it is, right? And so whenever they were behind each other working, that was what they saw. If someone was absent during that program, they had to call and find out what was going on, but they operated as a unit. And that, so those things that you're speaking about, like making decisions, yes. And we need to teach our children how to do that calmly.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you, I think I would definitely say that problem solving skill would be one of my top 5 things that I picked up, that has benefited me the most as a Black man. Because every day I got problems. If you run a business, all you got are problems to solve all the time. And the reason the problem got to you is because nobody else in the organization can solve it. If you married, you got problems. You got every single day. My wife came in this morning, gave me a list of 7 problems to solve. and if I couldn't just relax and strategically, systematically approach the problems, then it would have been much more stressful, right? So I think that, when you talk about what you're discussing, you're talking about mathematics, and I think that all of us see the same thing, which is that it's not just about the math. it's about so much more. It's about the mind. It's about
Yes.
critical thinking skill. It's about being able to shape and build the life that you want for yourself and for the people that you love. It's about building a community that can be successful and prosperous and capable. Freddie, being able to count your money. If you're doing business with people and you can't count, what kind of business can you do? When somebody says, "I'm gonna give you 10% of the money," and you don't even know how to calculate 10%. I mean, there's this really scared me. This was crazy. I never forget this conversation I had with a young lady one time, Freddie, where she was about 28 years old, and she was really into hair. She was really good with hair, and I said, "Wow, that's a great industry to be in because there's so much money in that industry. That's everybody spends money on their hair." So I was talking her through the difference between working in a hair shop versus actually running the salon. And I said, so you can rent out the chairs and you get a percentage, whatever. And I said, so I think I said something simple. I said, okay, so let's say that you have a business and you get, or you do a partnership and you get 20% of the money and $10,000 gets made that week. What would 20% of $10,000 be? And she froze for a minute. And I said, okay, maybe I need to make it a little easier. I said, okay, so let's say there's $100 and you get 20% of $100. How much would that be? And it was complete silence. And I remember saying something like, and then finally she took a guess. And the number she guessed, she said 72 or something like that. And the fact that the number was so different, like it just said that her line of thinking was in a whole different space, like almost like I was speaking a foreign language. And that didn't just happen with a young lady. It also happened one time when I went to go speak at one of these white liberal arts colleges, and they would only bring in black people to like play football and stuff. So I was sitting down talking to three dudes that were all on the football team, kind of having a man-to-man conversation. And a similar thing came up. I was explaining to them how to make money on YouTube. And I said, okay, so you basically get money for every 1,000 viewers you get. So let's say you get $5 per 1,000 viewers and you get 10,000 viewers. How much money do you make? And there was complete silence. Now, mind you, these same three guys before that were breaking down NFL offenses and defenses, could tell me, that the Vikings were better than the Cowboys because they signed a max deal with so-and-so and they're going to do a trade for like a really complex conversation. And that was what led us to have the YouTube discussions. I said, you guys could do a sports show on YouTube and talk about football all day and make money from that. And so I'm explaining just basic money making math. You make $5 for every 1,000 viewers, and this is how much. They couldn't even do that. And one of them was a junior. One of the other two were sophomores in college. Right. So that's scary. That scared me because it says to me, Freddie, that our kids just are not prepared for the future. And we ain't even talked about things like artificial intelligence. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm fearful. I'm fearful to where we're headed, right? But here we go, creating educated people, but not people that are prepared to solve our own issues and our problems. So it definitely scares me the way that you can matriculate through. I would have said high school, but I'm floored that you can get through college and you still can't do simple percentages. That blows my mind. I thought the standard was a little bit higher, right? But apparently not. But I think part of it is as parents, right? One, we got to start having some conversations in the community and start holding people accountable, parents accountable to a higher level of belief in their children. I just believe in challenging ourselves to be better. I've been on this fitness thing lately, and I got a little text group, and you might see me talking about, hey man, you're overweight, challenging one another, but we're challenging each other to be better because I want you to be alive to meet your grandchildren, right? Like we're dying in our 40s and our 50s because we're eating terribly, right? And we're not considering any of the ramifications of any of that. And I think that same thing is happening in the educational system. Like we're not challenging one another to be better parents, to be better educators, to be better stewards of our future, right? Nobody's coming to save us. We're going to have to save ourselves. So that's going to require some of us to have some tough conversations with family members, with friends. Like, look, man, if you don't get your family together, who my daughter gonna marry, or who my grandson gonna marry out here in these streets if we don't collectively raise all of our boats ourselves, right? Which brings me, I always want to emphasize, I wish Assata ran our schools, right?
Mhm.
Like, I just wish she was literally behind
Mhm. Mhm.
all of our schools, right? Like, because of, again, like her lessons and the way she thinks about it and how passionate she is about children's education in general, not just mathematics. Her sister is talented all the way around, right? But we need people that are serious about this and that's willing to get in your face and challenge you to be better. So everybody that can hear my voice, I challenge you to not only be better in your own circle, in your own family, but also challenging your family members and your friends and your frat brothers and your sisters to lean in and let's be serious about our future and our endeavors and challenging our young people and to be better. But I think it starts with the parental unit. I just think that I believe that's important. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Yeah. I mean, I love what you said. You know, black excellence is not a crime, but sometimes we act like it's offensive. You know that you actually want our people to do better, and I think that victim mindset, it's kind of like, I understand it. You know, we all have things that happen to us, but I can't see the benefit of that. And so, Assad, I'm gonna let you get the last word. And actually, before I do that, though, I'd like to let everybody know that that Assata and Freddie are from Urban Intellectuals, and we are doing a partnership with their Black Math Genius program, merging it with our Black Millionaires of Tomorrow program. And so, if you'd like to join the event is going to be tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. It's a one-time thing. It's free to everybody that wants to come in. You can text the word morning, MORNING, to 87948. And I'm going to send the link out right when we're done and right before the event so that everybody can come in that wants to come in. And we're going to talk really about educating our own kids, getting them to the highest levels mathematically, and then how we can link that to other aspects of their existence from business to everything across the board. So, Assata, let me ask you this final question, then we can bounce out for today because I know y'all have things to do, and I appreciate you all coming in today.
Absolutely.
You know, so Freddie said something that I thought was really true, and it's something I would fight for. He said Assata should be running all of our schools, and this is something I've thought about and I've heard before as well. When you know, when you talk about education, everybody acts like it's a problem that can't be solved. They just act like we could pour $10 billion into educating black kids, and they just don't want to learn. We can't teach them, and you know, and nobody stops and says, "Well, who's teaching them? What are you doing with that money? Who's
Mhm.
deciding where those funds will be allocated?" You're not really trying to solve the problem because there are people like you who have already solved it. You solved it a long time ago.
Mhm.
In the Black Business School, we got kids in there that got financial literacy levels of college graduates.
Mhm.
Okay, so the problem's been solved,
Yes.
right? And they got the money, but it's interesting when it comes time to apply the money, they keep pouring the money into solutions that do not work.
Right.
And I'd be willing to bet you that when they get together and they have these big government meetings on what to do about black kids in education, they don't invite people like you.
No.
They don't, right? And why would they not invite you? You, Freddie, me, we've solved the problem. Why wouldn't they invite us? Oh, that's right, because we love black people and we're pro-black. That makes us dangerous.
Yeah.
So,
They put the. Oh, go ahead with your
no,
question. I'm
you go
sorry.
ahead, please. I'm sorry. I talked to you. When I get fired up, I keep going. So
Yeah,
you
because I'm fired up. Right. Well, they put the money in the hands where they know that no problems will be solved,
mm-hmm,
so they can give it to incompetence and be like, "Look, we gave $5 million." And I used to tell people that would come to my school, "You're not doing a turkey drive at my school. You're not passing out. If you want to give real money to solve real problems, then we can do that. And we're not going to shuck and jive for it either."
mm,
And so what I used to ask people, I had an Asian teacher, and I was telling you about the computer science class that I started. Then I said, "Oh man, I now have to actually find someone that knows how to teach computer science." So I find this Asian teacher to teach computer science. I go in there, and this man has my students tapping on a desk or doing something. And I say, "What is this?" He said something about it. I said, "Did you take computer science?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Were you tapping on desk?" Oh no, my computer science was very hard. I said, "So you think my children are stupid?"
mm. Whew.
I said, "Do you think that they're not capable of doing what you did in your school in the suburbs of Chicago?" I get a call a little while later, no lie. This man has gone in the coat closet crying I had to go get my assistant principal. I'm like, hey, Mr. Lockenbach, I need you to come up here with me with this guy. I think I done talked too much stuff. Security. Hey, I need security to come with me. They like, Miss Moore, what you been saying now? Because I used to always have to call my security because I know I'm about to go in. Oh, you want to call the media? I'll look up the number and give it to you, but you're not coming in here. Like, and so I ask parents, do you think your child is stupid? Because if you don't, why are you not expecting better from them?
Yes.
Why are you okay with the mediocrity? Why do you not know who your child's teachers are? Why aren't you demanding more of them? Why do we not dream anymore? I was at Georgia State with a group of college students, and I asked them, what are their dreams? And they were looking around like, and so I said, like, when I was young, I used to dream about being a millionaire. And they was like, and they have no aspirations, no dreams. But that's parenting. Are you not? I have my niece here with me in DC. We were just in New York for 2 weeks. Took her everywhere, telling her about the history. Yeah, Wall Street is there, but you know what else happened in Wall Street with Black people and everywhere we went. So now we're in Harlem. You know what Harlem was known for? Because I believe in what's possible with her, and I wanted to continuously show her excellence. And so my question to parents, if you don't think your children are stupid, let's just say what it is, then what are you doing? Why do we continuously allow for us to have schools in the Black community where 0% of the students are proficient in math? You mean to tell me that after 9 years of school, you can't learn how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide? That you don't understand the relationship between addition and multiplication? When I ask you to prove to me that any number to the 0 power is 1, you can't do that. But then what you really have to do is test the teachers, and you will find out that they don't know it either.
Wow. Now that's powerful, and it's accurate, and it's true, and it really speaks to the gravity of the problem that we're solving. And it goes back to what you said in the very beginning, that nobody's going to solve it if we don't. So I'm gonna tell you, I want to see you run schools too, and I believe at some point you will run a even larger school system than the ones you're running now, and that's going to be because people will wake up and they will help fund those schools. I think that at some point, this is where we reach the next level as a community, is when we are funding our own liberation. Stop waiting for Massa to give you stuff. He ain't gonna do it. He gonna give you the scraps. He's gonna give you the poison food. He's gonna give you whatever the dog won't eat. If we want to have the best, we have to go and fight for the best. And so that energy that you have, that warrior energy to fight to defend the children, is a necessity for any group that wants to be free. Any group of people that ever wants to be free, you're gonna have to have some people in there fighting. Everybody can't be trying to get along and just hope for the best, or go out and look for their little black job and, and hope that everything works out. That's not how I want our kids to be built. So I want to say thank you very much to Assata Moore and Freddie Taylor, two people that I'm honored to partner with their Black Math Genius program. They are partnering with us in the Black Millionaires of Tomorrow program and the Black Business School to create children that are geniuses in both math and business. And as you can see, they are serious about what they do. They have a very long track record. They are incredibly good at getting our kids prepared for the future, and that's why we're honored to work with them. If you'd like to join the event tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, it's completely free to anybody in the community. Bring your spouse, bring your kids, bring your cousin, bring whoever you want. I'm going to send the link out. It's a Zoom link. It's a private Zoom. So just text the word morning to the number 87948. If you text morning to 87948, you'll get that invitation. And then on top of that, you'll get free access to my Money in the Morning economic elevation training that we do 7 days a week. And I guarantee you hang out with us long enough, you're going to be at a much higher level financially and otherwise. So God bless you both. It's great to see you again. Nice to meet you, Assata.
Thank you.
And very, very good to see you again, Freddie. And everybody, thank you so much for watching. And we will see you all soon. So bless everybody. Take care. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.